Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner, and this is a quick girl. Get your voice together. This is a quick girl. What is wrong with me? This is a quick recap. So tonight on ABC, there was a live in front of studio audience special that was on, and they did All in the Family and they did the Jeffersons, two shows that I loved when I was younger. And if they are on like Nick and Night or whatever, I try to watch them. It was really good. If you have not watched it, I hope I can catch it somewhere. I just want to talk about the cast and everything and how good or bad some of them were. Okay? But if you have not done so already, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel and become a whole Jaybird, dun, and all that good stuff. So y'all know All in the Family and the Jeffersons, it ran in the 70s. I think the late 70s. I think back then it was on CBS. And, All in the Family was, the bunkers, where the Jeffersons was the Jeffersons. And the two episodes they did on this, it was a live show. It was the actors reenacting two episodes. One episode from the All in the Family and one episode from the Jeffersons. And it was basically the episode where from All in the Family when we were first introduced to the Jeffersons, and the Jeffersons episode was when they was hiring a maid. And it was really interesting to say the least. So first of all, let's see who they had to play people. Okay, I have two different slideshows to show y'all. I'm gonna do cast photos of who they picked and who they were supposed to be playing, and then the people in the actual show. So Woody Harrelson. They had Woody Harrelson, who, and let me make sure I got the right things up. So I can have name by name. So yeah, Woody Harrelson was playing Archie Bunker, who was originally played by Carroll O'Connor. I loved Carroll O'Connor because he was also on In the Heat of the Night, which is a really great show too. On back in the late 80s. Was it late 80s, early? Well, I think it was the late 80s. So it was cool, So again, this is who they played. Okay, we also had Marisa Tomei playing Edith Bunker. Edith Bunker was played by Jean Stapleton. We're gonna get to that in 1 second. Okay, they also had this guy's name was Ike. I cannot pronounce his last name. It was spelled Barinholtz. He played Meathead. Okay, he played Mike from the show. Mike was originally played by Rob Reiner, I think he's like a producer, director, all that stuff. But he's producing some great things over the years. They had this person, Ellie Kemper. Don't know who she is, but she played Gloria. Gloria was played by Sally Struthers. I didn't like that they had her play Gloria, mainly because on the show, Gloria had blonde hair and she had red hair. And I know in this particular photo, the character here has darker hair. On the show, she didn't. Like, on the show, to my recollection, she was a blonde. I was blonde, so I don't get why they did not have, her or whatever. Now, they also had Anthony Anderson and Sean Hayes played the role. Anthony Anderson, of course, from Blackish. Sean Hayes from Will and Grace. Sean Hayes played Mr. Lorenzo. Anthony Anderson played Henry Jefferson, who was George Jefferson brothers. They didn't have a large role, so I ain't like getting a picture. Then we had Jamie Foxx playing George Jefferson, made famous by Sherman Hemsley. Okay, we had Wanda Sykes, who was playing Wheezy, or Louise Jefferson. One of my good friends, Wendy, she calls me Wheezy. I don't know why. I think it's my voice. When I met her, my voice was weird and scratchy. So yeah, she still, to this day, she still calls me Wheezy. Who was played originally by Isabella Sanford. We then had Will Ferrell, who was playing Tom Willis, who was played initially by Franklin Cover. We're going to talk about that. And then we had Kerry Washington, who was playing Helen Willis, played by Roxy Roker. Y'all know Roxy Roker is Lenny Kravitz's mom. In case you didn't know. We also have Jovan Adipo. It's Jovan Adepo. I'm going to girl, y'all know I'm bad with names. But playing Lionel Jefferson, who was originally played by Mike Evans. I believe there were two not Lionel Jeffersons, so I can't remember if he was. I think he was the second one. I think he was the second one, if I'm not mistaken. But he played Lionel Jefferson. They look alike in that picture. They really, really do. And then they had Amber Stevens West, who was playing Jenny Willis. I mean, Jenny Willis was never this light. Not, but we're gonna leave that alone. Jenny Willis was originally played by Belinda Torbert. Okay, we're gonna leave it alone. And then lastly, Mr. Bentley was played by Stephen Tobolowsky. I don't know if I pronounced that wrong. Who was first played by Paul Benedict. Um, yeah, let's go ahead and get on to them in the show. Okay. Okay. So here is the regular cast in the actual show. So Woody Harrelson playing Archie Bunker, he did amazing. Like he had the mannerism down, he had the voice down, he had how he would talk. It was perfect. It was eerily perfect. Okay, I mean I can go ahead and bring up. Let me see if I can bring this up on the other side. Um, if it see I can't because it's gonna be making me it'll make me have to do things the wrong way, and I don't want to have to do two things at once. Okay, so, but y'all know who he was. He's playing Archie Bunker. He did great. Like, I have no complaints. It was funny. Okay, even the crazy things that Archie Bunker would say, his mannerisms, move, Edith, all that was spot on. You know what I'm saying? How he would say the word girl to his daughter. Like, he really was the character, in the beginning of it, him and Marisa Tomei, play Edith. They sang the theme song, you know what I'm saying? By the way, Glenn Miller play, all that. It was very, very, they did the voices. It was amazing. He did really, really, really good. He really embodied the character. Like, if you saw All in the Family back then, I was like, he's Archie Bunker. At first, I was weary about it. Like, I don't know if he can really do it. Archie Bunker was very, very specific in how he played the character. How he talked was different. You can't just be Woody Harrelson, saying the word. Like, it's a whole, you had to act it. He did good. He did really good. And again, the episode again for them was when they were meeting the Jeffersons. So it was a whole bunch of conversation about black people. Y'all know, basically, Archie Bunker was a bigot. You know what I'm saying? It was what it was. So they didn't shy away from that. It was a whole episode that aired back then. And so it was a lot of foolishness going on. Marisa Tomei as Edith Bunker, she also did amazing. The fact that she got Archie, like, she had the whole voice down. Even how Edith, whenever she would do something, whether she was getting some coffee, making some toast, walking around, she never walked. She always kind of huddled, like a little run. A little speed walking. I'm like, she's speed walking like she did, and even Archie. It was so funny. I was like, okay, Marisa Tomei, if the show ever came back, these two would be perfect. Like, absolutely perfect. It was eerie. I'm like, she sounds like Edith. And she talks like it was, girl. I was like, okay. All right. So she did great. I loved her. I loved it because Edith Bunker, Gene Stapleton, had this voice, had this way about her, and it was like a nervousness, but not it was like a quirky white woman. A quirky white woman housewife is how I always looked at Edith back in the day. And Marisa Tomei, like, she nailed it. Like, she nailed it. And I had my doubts. What's her name? Ellie Kemper, who played Gloria. I didn't like her that much as Gloria. I think it's because of the red hair thing. I didn't understand that. She wasn't bad in her acting of it. Um, I feel like they pushed her more to be this. I didn't like her as the character. I didn't. But I feel like they were kind of secondary characters. Her and Meathead or whatever, Mike the Meathead Stivic. But the fact that she had red hair, it kept throwing me off. Even if the character had red hair, like red hair later on. She was known as a blonde to me on that show. So much so that when she was sitting at the table, I was like, did Mike have another girlfriend? Like, is it an alternate reality? Like, what's going on? Am I getting punked? Like, where's Ashton Kutcher? I was confused. And then when she said, "Daddy," I said, "Daddy." I said, she had blonde hair. Again, if she changed and had dark hair later, I get that. But she mostly, for the most of that show, had blonde hair. But whatever. Ike, and I can't pronounce his last name, playing the meathead. At first, I kept looking like, that's the dude from that stuff he's always in, but I don't really know him, but I know him. And I was like, I didn't see Mike and him, not until I seen a side by side. I said, okay, I get where they were going. I feel like because I know him for like little weird stuff. It was what it was. He didn't do a bad job. I just kept seeing him. I kept trying to figure out what movies I saw him in. And I kept thinking, does he look like Mike? Does he look like Mike? I can't. Does he? And I kept thinking that I kept questioning myself, but he did good. He didn't do bad. It was fine. Now George Jefferson. Okay, Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx as George Jefferson and Woody Harrelson as Archie Bunker. Comedic gold. Like, it was absolutely hilarious. They both embodied their characters. And with this being a live production, it was funny because, in the episode, because Archie doesn't like black people or whatever, and they're having a party for George's brother who's there, and George does not want to come in the house, and he and Archie are having a conversation through the door. And then when George comes in the house, and just to kind of stir off the conversation between them two, it was comedic gold. They both did their characters so much justice, and even the part when, because Anthony Anderson played his brother, and they were having a conversation, and Jamie messed up a little bit, and he's like, this is live TV. And he's like, people think they TV freezing. It was cute to see with live TV and everyone trying to hold their composure and not laugh because he was doing so good. It was great. It was really, really great. If you missed it, I feel bad. Like, I hope they replay it some kind of way, or you can catch it on demand. It was, even if you've seen the episodes of the Jeffersons and All in the Family, you still need to see this. Jamie Foxx had the voice down, the mannerisms down. He kept doing little stuff. He kept shuffling. You know what I'm saying? How George would walk, he would do that. Even he kept like pushing back his his jacket. It was amazingly funny to where I was like, this could be a TV show now, and they can kind of redo it a little bit and kind of up. Well, hell, most stuff that go on in this show go on today. Okay. He was really good. He was really good. He was really funny. It was just, I laughed the whole time. It was entertaining. I was surprised. But you know what? Jamie has always done great playing characters. Jamie is actually, this is a mosquito in my house, and I just seen it, and I want to punch it in the face because I don't want it to bite me. But it keep flying around. And that's why I hate when it gets warm, and I hate when I have my doors open. Anyway, y'all, I was watching it so I can murder it. But Jamie has always embodied characters, and what I like is he was George Jefferson. Like, it was amazingly, he did great. You see the outfit, the haircut was good. The little mustache or whatever. His stance were that way. Him talking, the conversations, the tone. Wheezing, Louise. It was great. It was great, 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 great. Wanda Sykes. Wanda Sykes may look like Weezy Jefferson. I did not like her as Wheezy. And this is why. I feel like the same way Edith had a very, very distinct voice, the same way Archie had distinct ways that he talked, the same way George had distinct ways that he said things, I feel like Louise Jefferson Wheezy had a distinct voice. And it was different, but still wonderful. I feel like Wanda Sykes was just Wanda Sykes with a wig on. Like, that's the one criticism I have. Not that she was bad acting. Not that she was bad acting. But I feel like she wasn't Wheezy Jefferson. She read what was on the paper. Like, I'm not sure who else they had on the lineup to play Wheezy and how she won the role. Not, and I think Wanda's absolutely amazingly talented. I love her in other things that she's done. I think she's a funny comedian. Nothing against her. Nothing against her. However, I think she was the one bad pick for this show. Simply because I was expecting to hear some type of, wheezy voice, and it was Wanda's voice. Wanda kind of has a high pitched voice, and I'm like, Louise's voice was a lot of things, but it wasn't high pitched. And I feel like, did they not want to get someone to do too deep of a voice that would be distasteful, so they just picked someone who looked like Wheezy and said, "Oh, well, just do the role." I did not like Wanda as Wheezy at all. And me as the person who I loved Weezy's voice. It was scratchy, a little lower on the lower register, but still feminine. And I feel like Wanda Sykes did not do Weezy's character justice, simply because it felt like Wanda Sykes on there. Like, Jamie Foxx was George Jefferson. Marisa Tomei was Edith. Woody Harrelson was Archie. I don't think that Wanda Sykes was Wheezy. She wasn't. Like, and her scenes weren't bad. She was still funny. It wasn't. It was Wanda Sykes. I could have went to Wanda Sykes, a comedian show or whatever. So I did not like her in the role. Even though she didn't act bad, she wasn't Louise, points to the period. They did also have Jackie Harry wasn't her. She played Louise's friend who was a maid who did not know that Louise was not a maid. It was cute. I think it's cool that Jackie Harry is still booking jobs and, is still a great actress. So that was great, great, great. Girl, Kerry Washington as Helen Willis. I was nervous. Because Kerry Washington, she's a great actress. I think she has range and all that good stuff. But Helen had this smoothness about her. She did not have much of an accent, but it was an aura about Helen that you had to come out. And if when she first said something, I said, is that Helen? And then she talked, I was like, oh, that is Helen. Her cadence was Helen. Her mannerisms were Helen. How free flowing, Helen was. Kerry embodied that shit. And even though it was, it's like she just had the little one scene of it, because they all like one or two scenes, just the one scene or whatever. I'm like, that's Helen. The hair was Helen. I said, come through, Kerry. Come again. It's more than you putting on the outfit and putting on the wig and reading lines to play the character. And that was my issue with Wanda Sykes. She didn't become Louise. Even though Helen Willis does not have an accent and there's not much you can do to be her, it's still a lot to do to be her. It's these little things. Even, how she looked at Tom, how she would react to George, all of that. Kerry did it. I was like, come on through, polka dot. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Amanda Seals. But, it was really, really great. Will Ferrell as Tom Willis. The only critique I have is the hair. But I understand that Will Ferrell has curly hair. But he was a good Tom. Tom was this is a corny white dude. He was just a corny white dude, and I don't feel like there was much to be like, to critique about him. Um, However, I liked him as Tom Willis. I feel like he and Kerry Washington could. If you know what there should be a show about Tom Willis and Helen, and if they did that, Will Ferrell and Kerry Washington should play them. It was really really cool. Just they played off of each other. It reminded me a lot of Helen and Tom back in the day. It was great. It was really 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 good. I don't know what else to say. We did see again. They showed Lionel and Jenny. Their scene was really really short. It was one scene on the All in the Family one where he just kind of said, "Hey, we're having a party for my uncle or whatever." We seen that part. I didn't. That's why I didn't get screenshots of them. And then we also had, the scene in the house where Lionel and Jenny is in the room and George assumes they back there doing it and they really not. So that was really it for them. The character who played Harry Bentley, I didn't like him as Harry Bentley. He didn't give me Harry Bentley at all. Mr. Bentley was a different kind of dude. Weird but funny, but still that weird ass neighbor who you be like, what, bro? What is wrong? Shut up, Mr. Bentley. This is the weird dude in the corner apartment. I have one here where I stay at. He's nice. He takes my trash out every day. But I didn't like the way he played it. It was weird to me. And it just wasn't. I didn't like the person they had play Mr. Bentley. And then of course, they were having Louise and George get a maid. And now I'm like, who are they gonna get to play? I kept like, who are they gonna get to play Florence? Now it was rumored they were gonna have Justina Machado, some woman who's played on other things that I've seen before, but I'm like, you can't have her. No, because no, I think I was confused, but I'm like, they probably won't have her for real. Like, it has to be somebody who's going to be Florence, and they had Florence. Okay, Marla Gibbs came back and portrayed her role. She's the only surviving member of the cast who's still alive, and when she came in, Jamie Foxx's face told the truth. I almost want to cry because she's still here. She still has all she can do whatever, and she was able to do her role. And she's a legendary actress in my book. I'm saying from 227 all the way through, and even having her and Jack A both on here, knowing they were both on 227 and had issues back in the day, and now they both are older women, was cool too. But she came through and she did her role. I wish they would have had her be more sassy Florence, but the episode was the first time she met them. But it was so funny when she did the line where, oh, so you live here, Miss Jefferson, and you live here too, Mrs. Willis, and they both like, yeah, we both live here. Well, how come everybody else came and nobody told me? And I'm like, I remember that line. So it was really great scene, the scenes between, George saying how they needed a maid, and girl, my hair on my damn ear. George said how he needed a maid, and Louise and I want one. And at first, George wanted Helen and Tom to get out until he figured out they agree with him. And seeing them kind of go back and forth, and then the whole thing with when they were all arguing. And how George, like, well, you can't argue with Tom, because if you argue with Tom, he gonna call you a nigga. Well, don't you say it. He gonna call you a nigga. And if you argue him, you gonna call him a honky. It was funny to see them still act that out. It was a great thing. Again, the only part about it I did not like was Wanda Sykes. I really, really didn't. Even for All in the Family. Archie, making Edith go around and do stuff all the time. How he would talk to her, and when Gloria said, Dad, why do you treat mom like a slave? Well, I treat her like a housewife. You know what I'm saying? That's what she is. You know what I'm saying? Don't wake me up to tell me that. It was cute to see all the little ways the story still kind of rings true today, and how they interacted with each other. Again, the great moments was, you know, Archie and George back and forth and on the thing, even Helen and George back and forth, and it was time, time, time still. What's this? Is the time? Oh, crazy! It's saying the time, right? Yeah, time talking. It was in just good old white time. Okay, as George want to call him a honky. It was great. If you missed it, like try to catch it. It was really, really good. If you did watch it, put in the comment section if y'all felt that Wanda Sykes didn't really do Weezy any justice. Was it just me? I'm not sure. Anyway, so again, it was called. What was it called? It was called All. No, it was called Live in front of a studio audience. Norman Lear's All Them Family and the Jeffersons. I hope they do more like this, and maybe do either other episodes, do other shows, do a Good Times. Okay, do a Golden Girls, do a Designing Women. Do Designing Women. And that was the night the lights went out in Georgia. If you don't know that line, you are too young to be watching me. Okay? Again, I loved it. I watched this instead of watching my Chicago shows. Y'all know I love my Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, and Chicago PD. I'm finna watch that now. However, I wanted to give y'all a video today because nothing else comes on. And this was very entertaining. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. Peace.
World